This is AV SuperFriends Perspectives, a collection of interviews, discussions, and presentations from conferences, trade shows, and events that just don't fit either of the other two shows. Some are long, some are short, but they'll all have valuable insights, useful information, or just good conversation with thought leaders and subject matter experts. And now, the AV SuperFriends.
All right, we are back here at Northwest Met 2025, and we're at the Lumens booth with Rick Puleo. Rick, glad to have you on the show.
Thank you.
And we came by here because you have some interesting little AV over IP encoder, decoder boxes, and a little camera controller. And I know Jamie was really jazzed on some of the stuff. He got his chance to play with these a month or so ago. But can you tell us a little more about what we're seeing here on this AV over IP encoder decoder thing? 'Cause I think they're magical little boxes that maybe not enough people know about.
Yeah, and I was really jazzed that you guys took it out for a test drive. I'm really excited about it because it kind of checks all the boxes that we are looking for. And the product is our OIP-N series. And I want to start with the OIP-N40E encoder. Mm-hmm. And when we say that it's an encoder, well, it's more than that. So number one, if you have my laptop, and just about every laptop I've come across has a USB-C connection.
Correct.
And that USB-C connection includes the display port. Well, if you have a USB 3.0 with a 10 gig minimum cable, because we know that USB-C cables
the real ones, the real USB-C cables. Okay.
So if you've got that USB-C cable, that means you're taking the display port out of your laptop into the encoder, and now my desktop, I'm sharing my desktop, and I'm encoding it. I could encode it as NDIHX. Mm-hmm. I could encode it as RTSP.
Right.
Or if I get the license for it, I can encode it as Dante AVH.
Okay.
So depending on what kind of flavor you want to work with, we got you covered. All right. So now we've got our desktop available on the network.
Yep, we're on the network now. We see we're there, right?
Yeah, we're there, right. So now we have our decoder that can decode that desktop, and it can go out to a display or whatever else that we need to do with it. But for now, I'm not done with my encoder yet. Okay. Because my encoder, that USB cable, is bi-directional. That means that I can take any video transport stream that's available on the network, either RTSP, NDIHX, or Dante AVH, and now I can decode these cameras,
right.
Any number of cameras, up to
single
200.
Connection, right? One connection both ways now. So.
Yeah. But I can switch between. I can have a number of cameras available to me on there, and I can select from them as my webcam input into my meeting du jour.
I think that's the real disruptor within the higher ed ecosystem, because most of us have the same problem that even if we get an NDI camera, that's not on the same network as our in-room PC, and it never will be.
Yeah.
And so now I have a way of opening up the portfolio of manufacturers out there that I can choose from.
Yes. And I think it's hidden under these simple terms of encoder and decoder, right? And so most people probably would say, oh, this is just like every other AV over IP encoder decoder, but where we saw the unique piece of this was that ability to switch and be bi-directional, and then also be that USB-C on and off ramp.
Yes.
Which was something we hadn't seen readily available in the market yet. And I think that was, when Jamie got his hands on it, he really wanted to do that. I think his use case was, let me just bring my cameras in and convert them to my USB at the PC without needing 3 other additional boxes, and just an elegant way to actually pull that off without needing to kind of Rube Goldberg together all these different systems as one thing.
Or relying on the instructor to know which USB to choose within the computer, because that's been our biggest issue is I can automate the rest of it, I can bring it through a control system, but that last little bit, I'm relying on the instructor to choose the appropriate input.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm actually showing the interface right now, and hopefully I want to get this get our demo into the hands of these guys again, so that everybody can see this. But I could have a source list that's either RTSP, Dante, or NDIHX. Even though I have an NDIHX camera right now, I'm only taking the RTSP feed right now, just for now. But we can use a number of controllers, we could use a number of commands. Because we have a complete command set, we can come up with a number of solutions, including bit focus and stream deck, to create a simple
there you go.
control panel to go. If you want to get a little more complex and go, I want to do camera 1, camera 3, camera 2.
Little micro switcher, super small form factor. Here you go.
That is possible. Now, the next thing that's important is that in this little encoder, okay, so we're encoding my desktop and we're sharing that out. I'm decoding video transport streams from cameras, but I also want to decode any available audio, because the room could have ceiling mics, it could have tabletop mics, it could have whatever, and in most cases it's Dante audio. So if we simply go over to our system, and it works better over here, we can come over here to our USB virtual output, and I can select my UAC output, my decoding, my audio, my USB audio. First cup of coffee, a little bit of tongue-tied. Thanks for bearing with me.
We're
I can
following
say,
along.
Follow Dante. So I can follow Dante. So now I can go over to, if you're dealing with Dante, you could open up your Dante controller.
Actually show it as a source or destination.
And
exactly.
once Dante, you could just select and route over there.
So it's making itself exposed as the audio path as a matrix, your video path as a matrix, and that's why I'm going back to it's more than just the encoder. You're getting a lot of different capability under the hood here, which I think for most people would give them a level of flexibility they haven't seen in their current AV over IP systems. I think it was a really interesting box, and when Jamie had brought it up a couple months ago, I think we were all wondering, like, what are you doing?
It's kind of
it
a
is
unicorn.
Mad scientist, and it was very, very unicorny and worth checking out. So, Rick, awesome. Thank you for kind of going over that encoder. Any kind of last interesting tidbits about this kind of ecosystem that are worthwhile for people to know about?
Well, I wasn't done yet.
Okay, get in there.
Cut me off. The last thing that I wanted to mention is that within my teams or your meeting solution, you could actually select what your microphone source is and what your speaker source is. So I'm taking my far side audio and I'm encoding it to Dante, and so now
bring that back in.
Now it's part of the room. So that's the last thing that I wanted to mention.
And again, I think it falls right in line with what we were saying, right?
Yeah.
Is that you're getting a whole different level of switching and source and destination capability from one box, where the name of that box may look as if it's one direction, but really these things are multi-direction at any point in that chain, which is just unique, and we just don't see a lot of that in the market. I think Rick is amazing to kind of first see it firsthand, actually in here, not by way of Jamie's hands, and then actually have a little higher in-depth conversation about what is actually possible. I think it's super intriguing. I think it's going to be something that people are going to see, and other manufacturers will kind of look at it like, how does that change the way we look at what we're doing? And it's a very good disruptor. I really like it.
Good.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you guys for having me.
Rick, thanks. And if people want to get a hold of you, is there a way they can kind of reach out to you, more information?
Mylumens.com. And you can hit me up there, rick.puleo at lumensus.com.
Puleo.
Uleo, yes. Thank you guys very much.
Well, that wraps up another episode of AV SuperFriends Perspectives. If you have a perspective to share, you can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV SuperFriends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.